The search for India's third major airline in the sky. A family suddenly sits down late at night to book tickets. There is an emergency at home, and getting from Delhi to Bengaluru early the next morning is essential, but everyone goes silent looking at the fares on the screen. A ticket that was showing around 6,000 rupees just a few hours ago has now crossed 15,000 rupees. The father refreshes, the son opens another app, but the options remain the same. On one side is IndiGo, on the other is the Air India group. In between, a few smaller airlines appear, but the timings are bad, seats are few, or the route is not available. This is where the fear begins. If a large country like India becomes dependent on just two big airline groups, will passengers have any choice left, or will there only be compromises? On the surface, Indian aviation appears to be in a golden era. New airports are being built, smaller cities are connecting with flights, and the middle class is shifting from trains to planes for the first time. In 2025, domestic aviation saw a major milestone when more than 5 lakh passengers took flight on a single day on November 23. However, behind the shine of this boom lies a hidden crack. Demand is rising, airports are expanding, but airline choices are shrinking. According to Outlook Business's July 2026 report, domestic airlines flew 864 lakh passengers in H1 2026, and the combined share of IndiGo plus Air India Group was above 90%. IndiGo alone held more than 64% of the market, while the Air India Group stood at roughly a quarter of the market. The remaining players look like small islands. When only two big players hold the real power in any market, it is called a duopoly. And in aviation, a duopoly isn't just a business word, it is a question tied directly to the passenger's pocket. Because a flight ticket is not luxury shopping. Many times it is the pathway for an illness, a job interview, an exam, a wedding, a business meeting, or a family emergency. When competition is low, pressure on fares can ease up. During peak season, festivals, long weekends, or last-minute travel, tickets suddenly start feeling out of reach for the common man. The passenger thinks, let's look at another airline. But if the second option lacks the route, the timing, or the seat, then choice only appears to exist. It isn't actually available. And the problem isn't just about fares. If a flight is cancelled, delayed, or if a major operational glitch occurs in an airline, the entire network can be affected. This is where the need for a third major airline arises. A third strong player brings more than just another logo to the market, it brings pressure, backup, and balance. Healthy competition keeps fares disciplined, pushes service quality, and forces airlines to treat passengers better. If there are 3 strong airlines on a route, the passenger compares timings, checks baggage policy, looks for refund reliability, and chooses a brand. However, if there are only 2 giants, comparison grows weak. The market starts feeling like a closed room. There is air, but there are few windows. India was not always like this. At one time, Jet Airways, Kingfisher, Air Sahara, Go First, SpiceJet, Vistara, Air India, and IndiGo all had their own space. Then came losses, debt, fuel costs, mismanagement, and many names were left behind in aviation history. Jet Airways shut down, Go First went into insolvency, and Kingfisher became history. Vistara, which was a premium full-service brand, eventually merged into the Air India group. This made Air India stronger, but independent choice decreased. On the other hand, IndiGo captured the market with discipline, a low-cost model, an on-time focus, and a large fleet. Its scale became so massive that competitors started looking small in front of it. The Tata-backed Air India group is now in revival mode. New aircraft orders, branding, international ambitions, and network integration are all making it a major aviation force. However, having 2 strong airlines and having a healthy market are not the same thing. The market needs resilience, not just dominance. Akasa Air raised hopes by making its entry. In June 2026 data, it appeared as the 3rd largest domestic carrier, but its market share remains very small compared to the giants. SpiceJet was once a strong low-cost player, but financial and operational challenges reduced its competitive strength. A comeback will not be easy for it. So the question arises, when the Indian market is so large, why isn't a third major airline emerging? The answer lies not on the runway, but on the balance sheet. Starting an airline is one of the most capital-heavy businesses in the world. Aircraft leases, crew salaries, maintenance, training, insurance, technology, and airport charges all demand upfront cash. Aircraft delivery delays are another major issue. Due to global supply chain and engine problems, planes aren't received on time, and without planes an airline cannot scale. The biggest operating cost is fuel. In India, aviation turbine fuel, or ATF, often eats up 35% to 45% of an airline's cost structure. State-level taxes and VAT differences on ATF make planning difficult for airlines. One route appears profitable while another becomes loss-making due to fuel and charges. On top of that, aircraft leasing, maintenance and many payments are dollar-linked. If the rupee weakens, costs quietly shoot up. Now look at the passenger. The Indian flyer is price-sensitive. Even a fare difference of 500 rupees can change a booking decision. That is why an airline cannot keep fares too high, yet it cannot lower its costs either. This thin margin makes aviation a dangerous business. Here is the pattern interrupt. In India, there is no lack of demand, there is a lack of predictability in profit. The initial years are the toughest for a new player. You have to build brand trust, launch routes, fill aircraft and maintain investor confidence while bearing losses. Then comes the puzzle of airport slots. To operate a flight, having a plane and a pilot isn't enough, you also need the right takeoff and landing times. At congested airports like Delhi, Mumbai and Bengaluru, morning and evening prime slots are as valuable as gold. Existing airlines hold historic slots. As long as they use them efficiently, they continue to receive an advantage in the next season as well. A new airline often gets odd timings. An afternoon low-demand flight or an awkward night timing fails to attract passengers. Slots are like oxygen for an airline. The plane is parked, the staff is ready, and demand is there, but without the right slot, the business begins to suffocate. In international routes, a layer of bilateral rights comes in. How many seats Indian Airlines can operate in which country is determined by government agreements. Big airlines can build an international network quickly because they have fleets, slots, brands and alliances. It takes years for a smaller airline to reach that point. Therefore, a third airline isn't built just by getting a license. It needs planes, pilots, airports, slots, capital and patience. The third player also needs a smart strategy. Fighting solely on Delhi-Mumbai-Bengaluru can be an expensive war. It can create a distinct identity by connecting Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities to metro hubs, providing capacity on underserved routes, and offering reliable timing. However, regional routes alone aren't enough. If it wants to become a real national airline, it also needs metro connectivity, or else passengers will treat it as mere backup. This is where the government's role becomes crucial. Slot allocation must be transparent and practical for new entrants, not just fair on paper. Rationalizing the ATF tax structure has been discussed for a long time. If the fuel burden reduces, the survival chances for new players could increase. Projects like Navi Mumbai, 𝐼NGO and other airports can expand capacity. However, new runways will only help if airlines get economically usable slots. Improving the aircraft leasing ecosystem is also necessary. Steps like the Protection of Interest in Aircraft Objects Act 2025 were seen as positive moves toward building leasing confidence. Yet, the impact of policy reform will only show on the ground when financing becomes cheaper, repossession rules are clear, and new airlines earn trust to attract capital. Fair air regulation is also a delicate subject. If the government exercises too much control, airlines will go into losses. If there is no monitoring at all, passengers will suffer during peak times. A proper balance is necessary in aviation. Dynamic pricing should exist, but there must also be passenger protection during crises and mass disruptions. Refunds, rebooking, cancellation support, and transparent communication are areas where competition makes the passenger stronger. Now for an important point. It is easy to end the story by turning IndiGo or Air India into the villain, but that would be unfair. These companies built scale, managed networks, bought aircraft, created jobs, and strengthened India on the global aviation map. The problem isn't dominance, it is over-dependence. If the entire system relies on just two shoulders, an injury to even one shoulder can turn into a national headache. Safety is also part of the third airline debate. Rapid expansion requires increasing the capacity of trained pilots, engineers, cabin crew, and the maintenance ecosystem. An airline doesn't run on planes alone. It runs on procedures, simulators, safety culture, dispatch planning, and thousands of invisible decisions. There is room for both low-cost and full-service models. India needs cheap tickets as well as reliable full-service options. In the international market, India's ambition is even larger. The nation wants Indian Airlines to grow stronger against global hubs. Gulf hubs have long connected Indian passengers to Europe, America, and Africa. Now, India itself wants to become an aviation hub. However, becoming a hub requires multiple strong airlines, not just an airport terminal. Otherwise, capacity growth will remain locked in a few hands. If a duopoly continues for long, passengers may feel the impact on fares, route choices, and service quality. If a strong third player emerges, smaller cities could get better flight frequency, metro passengers could get better fare options, and the industry could gain backup capacity. However, creating a third airline should not be a game of subsidies. Keeping a weak airline in the sky through artificial support can be risky for both passengers and taxpayers. India needs smart competition. Competition that is financially disciplined, operationally safe, and brings long-term capital. Growth in aviation should be measured by resilience, not headlines. How many passengers flew is one question, how many options remained is another. Consumers aren't passive in this story either. If passengers raise their voices regarding punctuality, service, refund behavior, and fare transparency, airlines will feel the pressure. This is the major turning point. India has flyers, airports, demand, and ambition. What is lacking is strong competitive depth. The sky appears vast when you look at it, but if runway slots, fuel costs, and capital gates are closed, that sky becomes small for a new player. Now return to that same booking app. The family traveling for an emergency is looking at the screen, fares are high, options are limited, and time is running out quickly. Imagine if there were a third major reliable airline on that screen, featuring good timing, fair fares, and a strong network. Then the question wouldn't just be about ticket prices, the question would be, does the Indian sky truly belong to the common traveler, or is it still waiting for a strong third option?
If this video has taught you something new, or if you feel this information should reach more people, don't forget to like and share the video. Your small share can become valuable and useful information for someone else. If you have any questions related to this topic, or if you would like to share your opinion with us, be sure to write in the comment box. We read every question and suggestion from you, because your feedback inspires us to create better content. And if you want to keep receiving such interesting and reliable information about business, the economy, and the world in the future, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel GRT Business and also press the bell icon so that you get notifications of every new video directly. At GRT Business, we always strive to provide you with accurate, balanced, and reliable information. Our news and analysis are prepared based on information obtained from various news agencies, public sources, and public opinion. We make every effort to verify and validate each fact as much as possible. But in case of any possible error or dispute, the responsibility lies with the respective sources. Our only aim is to present you with a correct and trustworthy perspective so that you can understand any topic better.